From magma to mankind. In this lecture, I will try to explain that we all come from magma and not from some apes, fish, or single cells. So try to imagine this floating lava as your forefather. It feels like we are inside some sci-fi movie when we do that, and we might think this is bullshit, we come from single cells, not some 1,000-degree hot lava. We all know the image of a single cell, changing into some simple creatures floating in the ocean, that slowly evolved and grew and turned into some sort of fish that grew and ate smaller fish to become bigger itself, and grew even more and then stepped on land and walked around as lizards that over millions of years changed to mammals, that changed to apes, that changed into humans. This is the history of evolution of mankind as we know it. From single cells, all life flourished. Look at this beautifully drawn graph. It shows something we could call the tree of life. It's supposed to show how one species evolved from another. The lines show the lineage of evolution. Plants, fungi, animals are all shown coming from the single cell. Seems like set in stone. All seems very logical. But I see some things missing. This. For example, this is metal. And it's growing. We've been taught that life starts with the single cells, and everything evolved from there. But we forgot some chapters. Let's go back to this image, and let's add a few things. The single cells come from other compounds. They didn't come out of the blue. And this is a known fact and accepted, but still never included in pictograms like these. And I ask myself, why? Why is there this thick line dividing what we call animate and inanimate matter? Why don't we decide that there is no line? I mean, single cells did not come out of the blue, and not from magic. Scientists say that they were formed by processes that led to life. Led to? Why don't we decide that it's all one evolution? If we do that, we have to be brave and erase the line between dead and living matter. Let's add some missing chapters. Single cells were formed from previous compounds. And circumstances. Let's not forget that environment and circumstances are part of the evolution. Of course, that was not the beginning either. Before these compounds, there were other things happening. We add those here, and so forth and so forth. until we come to the beginning point of all life on planet Earth, which is, you guessed right, magma. All life on planet Earth comes from magma, or space dust, or energy, or. Now this is from my book. First there was a ball of glowing magma. Some of it cooled and turned into a crust. Volcanoes and other movements in the crust created mountains, and water that evaporated out of the magma turned into oceans, and also came with asteroids. Through pressure, gases, and other influences, more complicated molecules, crystals, and pyrite and other minerals formed, as an example. Next was a more complex development of combining structures. Organic matter developed. What is this noise? These noisy motorbikes. The world is full of moving things or elements that affect each other in a very complex way. All kinds of powers move through and affect the world in simultaneously organized and chaotic ways. Okay, so the next thing was that complex development of combining structures, organic matter developed, and we come from there. Are we really related to stars and our thoughts and memories? Can memories affect the world too? Snowflakes grow. A motorbike moves through the city. Stars transmit light and have a lot of weight and are full of chemical processes happening all the time. Is that alive or dead? What about emotions? Laughter, sadness, anger, love. Where do all our emotions come from? Lava? Theoretically, yes. At least they didn't form out of nothing. They didn't arrive with a random email from outer space. Emotions and thoughts also come from somewhere, and if we are descendants of lava, then everything we are, including our thoughts and feelings and emotions, are also, yes, you guessed right, from magma. So mind and matter are from magma. They are the same thing. Somehow the potential for thought and feelings come from magma as well. But thoughts are mental, not physical things, some might argue. But if everything comes from magma on this planet, then mental reality does too. And that's where it starts to be very interesting. Does material think? Maybe not like humans think, but the possibility to create circumstances where thought is generated seems to be already embedded in magma. Yes. Freaky, no? but also maybe a relief. Then there is not so much mystery anymore over mind and matter, spiritualism and all that. The spiritual and all the gods come from magma. Yes, or space dust or energy or whatever it is. At least everything on planet Earth went through the gate of being magma at some point. Even those clouds. Before the Earth was a glowing ball of magma, it was a cloud of space gas. So where does art come from? Where does a person come from? Most people would say that a person is born and comes into the world from their mother's womb, and that they live and then they die, and therefore we have to distinguish dead from alive. I agree, we can do that. That is what we do, and it's correct. We can nevertheless also say that a life of a human is like a day that starts and ends. But a day is not the beginning and the end of the total story. A day starts when the earth turns one side towards the sun, and the day ends when the earth has turned half cycle. A human life is a form of a greater phenomenon. Mankind, the human race. One human life is a chapter in a larger book. It's a whole chapter, but not the whole book. Life on Earth is larger than a single human life, or a life of a plant, for example. I have a lot of respect for one human life. After all, I am one myself. But there is a bigger picture. And the human life is one part of many parts of a much larger picture. When one human life seems to end, the bigger picture is not ending. And within one life, there can also be many chapters. The human body is a vehicle for many lives as well. We have 10 times more bacteria in our bodies than our cells, for instance. And when we can think that we come from magma and not from some caveman, apes, fish, or single cells, then our perspective will change too. Not necessarily for the better, but it will change. And when it does, it's interesting. It makes us see ourselves and our lives differently. Our awareness of things, the environment, other animals, insects, bacteria, and even dust, will make us see them differently. I can't tell what people will see, but one possibility is that we will see that the things around us are like our thoughts, seemingly unattached to us, but still strangely part of who we are. Because evolution is not linear. It's a web. It's not a linear evolution. We need to rearrange the map and list the supporting actors. All the bodies that were at work before and with the species we see evolving here. For example, space is the biggest actor, and things like water and seemingly obscure things like mud, invisible things like electromagnetic fields, the atmosphere, and countless effects between species through fight or for territories, being food for each other, indirectly learning from each other, temperature regulated by the atmosphere, thought maybe even on quantum levels. Love is an important drive created by nature, sex in one way or another. Fear, fight or flight response. All of these things affect evolution. DNA and RNA, humor is part of it, and the sun. Just to name a few of the bodies that are quintessential to all evolution on Earth. And that are our work on Mars and other planets as well. And have been at work and will be at work since forever. And until forever, because possibly the universe is a place without time, which is another topic I will discuss in another lecture held in Gdansk, Poland later this year. Here's a brand new footage from Mars that shows rock formations and sands and other materials already ordered up. And if all of this is alive, then the good old question, is there life on Mars, is obsolete. Because everything on Mars is alive. Do you know the question about the egg and the hen? Who came first, the egg or the hen? Or the egg or the chicken? Or the chicken and the hen, or the hen? Many people have struggled answering that question. What if we say that the egg and the hen is the same thing? And so the question is obsolete, just like the question about life on Mars. There are so many obsolete questions. The egg and the hen are the same thing in two different stages. Everything is on Mars is alive, like planet Earth has always been alive. If we erase the line between dead and living materials and say that everything in the universe is a force of life, then the answer is easy. There is life on Mars. As we see on these 2020 images from NASA, why are 8 countries sending as many spaceships to Mars as we speak? I mean, purely from timing and urgency. I'm sure there is a lot of interesting things to find there. But before moving there, should we not concentrate on learning how to live on Earth? Earth is made for us. We are Earth. Its size and our size is one. It's pure love. Now we'll work